afternoon and welcome to a special Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm joined by two members of the Ilkeston Academy. Ilkeston is a football club that is no stranger to Bermuda. We've had many of our people go through the walls and the halls of the club. I want to welcome Mark Clifford and Tony Spencer. Gentlemen, obviously, we're in a different space as far as football or life in the world right now. But the opportunities that clubs are coming up with to kind of make sure that they revamp themselves and have options for people, not just in the UK, but also in a place like Bermuda for young people to join a club. You guys have now kind of laid some things out. Tony, let's start with you. Can you just give us some background as to what direction the club is going as far as the academy and what's out there to offer?
So what I would say is with the academy, we're moving in a really good place at this moment in time. We've built up a lot of links around the local community, and we're going from strength to strength with just the fact that we're bringing in really good young people who not just only want to play football, but want to get a good education as well. So from the academy side of it and the education side of it, we're in a really good position simply because we're offering a lot of opportunities to young people to actually further their education alongside playing football at a really high level.
Yeah, Mark, with technology, the world's kind of at your feet. No matter what, you have this opportunity to kind of want to bring people in. How does that work for this particular club who is going through transition themselves?
Yeah, well, I think the whole world's been thrown into things, challenges that they didn't think they was going to have to face, and we're absolutely no different. Myself and two investors bought the football club 2 years ago, and we certainly didn't expect to be in the middle of a pandemic, 18 months later. In terms of where we feel we are, we're in a fantastic position. We've got a great academy, we've got a great community, and we feel now is the time for us to expand. And we're really excited by what we see already that have come over from Bermuda with what Anthony's already got in the academy. Really young, exciting talents and great young men as well, which is something the football club is really keen on, is providing opportunities to develop people, not just footballers but people.
Yeah. When you guys decided to buy the club after it had, I think, gone into going out of business of sort, what was the reasoning behind getting this club back up and running and back to try and get back where it used to be?
I think I used to play for the football club as well. So several times I actually played for the club, and I had a real good connection with the club as a player and a great connection with the fans. I actually went back as manager initially, and that was short-lived because by 3 months later we ended up purchasing the club. And then it became kind of impossible for me to do everything. So we brought in another manager. So I kind of oversee the football club now as a head of football and chairman role. The vision is to get the football club back where we know it can be. It's got a great fan base. It's in the middle of a fantastic community. We've also just set up a foundation as well, which will see us work and support the community even further. So we just want to restore the club to its former glory, to the days when I was playing, and getting 2,000 people in the ground and cheering us on, and we want it to have that community feeling again. For us, it's just about returning the club to its supporters, its community.
Tony, how important is it at the academy level that you get the youngsters to understand what the Ilkeston town club means, playing style, so they could then filter into the senior team and possibly move on?
Well, it's really important, to be fair, because from the very start, when obviously I joined forces with Mark, to actually bring the academy to Ilkeston. It was one of the first things me and Mark spoke about was the fact that we want the kids to understand the history of Ilkeston and represent it in the best possible way on the pitch, but more importantly off the pitch as well. Because at the end of the day, these young men, they're representing the future of Ilkeston, of a football club. So there have to be, a certain level of, respect and pride in the work. So us at the academy, we take it really important that the kids understand that education is the foundation to everything. So education comes first, and then football comes after that. So if you fall behind on your educational work, then you won't play football, because we want it to be to play for Ilkeston Academy. It's a privilege, and you have to work hard for it. So for me, it's really important that the young men from wherever they come from understand that there's a level what we want at Ilkeston, and we're not willing to dilute that in any shape or form. So everyone's got to step up to the plate. It's really, really important.
Having said that, one of the things that really does help is being focused, having young men being focused on multitasking. It actually makes a more well-rounded player. Am I correct?
Yes. Sorry, Anthony. Yeah, absolutely. I think if they get the right grounding and they get the history and they get they understand where they've come from in terms of at the football club, what they will get is that passion on the football pitch. That first and foremost will be in their mind, and they'll be all working with the players on the pitch and the coaching staff to achieve the same goal. And we need them to achieve that, because that's the place where dreams can happen, is on the pitch. There's lots of hours go into training, and we understand that, and that's very important. But where actually the dream and the opportunities arise is for actually getting through the pathway from the academy into the under-23s and into our first team, because then they're really on the shop window. And as the owner, we've just signed a manager on a 2-year contract. In that contract, there is a clear target for him to produce young players. He's got to be an integral part working through the academy and the under-23s to make sure that our young people are represented through that football club.
Now, you said you've played with the club, and obviously, were you there when there were a few Bermudians there? I know you have Bermudians there now in the academy and so forth, but were you there when Bermudians were playing prior to that?
I wasn't. No, I think I just missed. I think I just missed them. I think I'd stopped playing when the connection kind of came to fruition. We did have a Bermudian at Baseford United. He was a right back, but his name, as we just started speaking, his name's escaped me. But again, another fantastic player and a great kind of showcase for what the talent that comes from Bermuda.
Mm-hmm. Tony, what is your impression of the young people that you have there already that are from Bermuda? What do they bring, and what could they actually improve on?
Yeah, okay. Well, as you might not know, I have 6 Bermudian players with me now. I've had them for the last 4 years. So I've got Kieran Brown, C.K. Spence, Leo Dill, Mazai Simmons, and Cash and Blaze Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they first come over to me about 4 years ago, they were looking for somewhere to land and play their football. They was all technically very good, really good, rounded footballers. But what they did miss was the physical side of the English game, which it's a cliche, but in England, you have to be able to deal with both. You can't just have the skills and not be able to deal with the mental and physical aspects of playing against men. So over the last two and a half years, I've developed these boys into a position now where they can play against men. They're not scared. They'll go and do their skills. They won't be afraid to take on a player and actually impress their their personality on the game, which for us at Ilkeston is really important, because you can have some really good under 18 players, really, really good. But when they step up to men's, they're just not quite there. And, you know, so you have to work hard to change the mentality and just the ideas of the game. So, you know, under 18s, you know, you might not be as much clued up about shape and positioning and stuff like that. But when you go into men's football, you know, these guys are experienced players, and if you don't understand what the manager's telling you to do, you know, you will get found. You will get found out. So, you know, so the boys, what we have now, I've got a lot of time and expectations for these boys to actually do good things, but they just have to take on board, you know, everything they learn along the way, and just be not afraid to express themselves, but express themselves within the team ethic. I think that's really, really important as well. Because at Ilkeston, you know, I have my boss, who's the first team manager, and then he has his boss, which is Mark. So everyone's got a role, and so when it all comes together, these young footballers have a great chance, a really, really great chance. And it's very rare for me, who's been coaching now for quite a few years, to be in a situation where the owners of the club, you know, really have a passion for young people and local young talent coming through, and talent from any walks of life. So it isn't just, you know, so for instance, in the first team at the moment in time, we've had 4 of my players play. One of them was Alil Dill. He's a unique one, because 2 years ago he was in goal. Yeah.
Right.
And you know, and we sat down with him and just said to him, you know, in England you're not going to make it as a goalkeeper. It's just, you know, in England you've got to be 6 foot plus before you even get a look in. Sometimes. So, you know, so we all credit to him. He changed his position. We put him up front, and luckily for him, I was a striker back in my day, so I could actually give him some good tips about how to play in that role. And he's excelled. You know, is not quite broke into the first team yet. The first team got some really, really good attackers, but he's there and thereabout, which is, at his age, is what it's all about.
Right. Now you guys are offering that BTE level 3. I know I missed a letter somewhere, but looking at what you're offering for youngsters to come into a program and having a goal, having a target set, not just as a footballer, but through education. How does this system work?
Sorry, yeah. So, you know, the BTEC's a fantastic way of getting them to understand the sporting industry. That's first and foremost. So, you know, we want them to understand that there can be a pathway in football. And if you don't make it as a professional footballer in England, you can earn a very good living as a semi-professional footballer. But again, we have to make sure the education is taken care of. What we're trying to do at the football club is make sure there's opportunities for them alongside their education, alongside the football, for them to get some real life skills, working, you know, supporting the football club in other ways. So to get their, you know, they've got real life experience of being in working situations. So their CV at the end of their time with us, they'll become really employable. And add to that the opportunities we're going to give them for a degree level, which Anthony will speak a little bit more about. You know, we want our young people to become, if they don't become professional footballers, to become the best at what they do in physiotherapy, in sports analysts, you know, to sports scientists, all of that. So staying within the game that they love, but, you know, going the extra mile and getting that degree to really stay in the game and showcase and benefit the club and go on to bigger and better things. But I'll let Anthony kind of fill you in on that program.
You just have to unmute. You have to unmute. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay, so when you finish school at 16, we give you an opportunity to learn sports and coach and train every day. So in essence, it's kind of like, for instance, you leave school with four fours, which is the equivalent to C's.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll come on the course and you'll do a 2-year pathway course. And within that course, you will learn all about, the body, the physical side of it, the recovery side of it, the coaching side of it. And then you'll also train every day as well. So how it works at Ilkeston, they train 10 hours a week and they educate 10 hours a week as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a Wednesday, they play a football game. So within Ilkeston, we have 2 levels. So we have the boys who aren't what I would class as elite at that moment in time. They will play in a league called the SCL League, which is a regional league where you've got all other academies what are in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the better players at that moment in time, they will play in the National League. And now the National League is playing against all the top academies in England. So, it's very high level, very competitive. The coaches all want to win because at the end of the day, that's what it is at that level. It's, it's not about taking part, it's about winning. So it's very competitive. And so you have to be on your game, physically, mentally, and tactically as well. So it's a really high level. And then at the end of the two years, what we've now developed is another pathway. So what we've realised at Ilkeston is a lot of these kids, when they turn 18, they're still not sure what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they've just come out of a 2-year scholarship program with us, and some of them aren't quite sure what they want. So myself and Mark have sat down and worked out how best can we at Ilkeston offer young people, a wraparound kind of from 16 to 20 years old. So, we're just in the finalizations of a great partnership with Derby University, which will give these boys an opportunity to do a degree level course. And while they're doing that degree level course, they can still train and play football for Ilkeston, which is a real big pull for us. So, in essence, we will have the best of the best train at Ilkeston, training 3 or 4 times a week, but on the same side, they're getting a great education as well, which is, for us, it's what it's really all about.
Mm. How important is it? Because you mentioned you had the conversation with the goalkeeper that he wasn't going to make it. How important is it to be as honest as possible with the player and his family as early as possible to make the adjustments?
I didn't hear what that.
Oh, okay.
Errol.
What's that?
Anthony just talked about how important is it to be honest early on, like with a Leo, to say what position they play in, and honesty in terms of their development.
Yeah, it's massive for us all. I'm one of these coaches what believe in being honest upfront with the boys. So I'll always tell all my boys where they are, where they are at that time, and what they need to do to improve to get to the next level. Now, I have a remit from Mark and from the management team above me. My job is to make sure, if called upon, these young men are ready to step up and play for the first team, like 4 of them already have.
Mm-hmm.
So within that thing, you have to be honest with them and say, if they need to improve on the offending, understanding of the game, the positional sense, the actual temperament, which is really important. So for me, the earlier on you can get into a young person and explain to him what is needed to take that next step. I think that's the better way. And part of that is being brutally honest sometimes with them. You know, you don't want to do it, but it's by doing that, you're giving them the best possible opportunity.
True. Mark, the leagues are kind of at ransom right now. You're waiting to see what's going to happen and so forth. The painstaking of waiting, having gone stop-start season, from the management side, how are you guys dealing with that? Because I know the players and coaches must be anxious and want to get back on the field.
Yeah, of course. That footballers want to play football. Coaches want to coach. You know, they just want to be involved in the game. What we have to be mindful of is, you know, there's across the whole world, there's a lot of people dying from this disease, and so whilst we want to play football, you know, there's people very close to me and close to people at the football club that have lost their lives. So whilst it is at the forefront of our mind to get back playing, you know, this isn't a little thing that's happened. This is a worldwide pandemic, and you know, we'll respect that. And you know, when it's time and it's safe to do so, because the health of all of us is at the forefront of what we believe in as a football club as well. So when it's ready to go, I'm sure the people and the powers that be will allow us to do that, and then we'll crack on.
Right. What are the circumstances for this new development that you guys have come up with? When will it start? How does the living arrangements go? Because Tony explained, you know, 10 hours training, 10 hours, you know, education and all. But when will this start? How, you know, and how does one kind of get the conversation going with you guys?
So basically, what we're looking to do, hence why I've been speaking to a couple of guys in your national FA, is because we've realised there's an actual opportunity here for Ilkeston to kind of have a partnership with the national FA in Bermuda, because we believe we can offer your young people who want to come to England to play and better themselves in education. We can offer both, and by linking up with Derby University as well, we've got that extra bit where, you know, certain kids could come over, they could live on the digs in Derby University, so they do the degree with us, live on the campus, and then they can come and coach and train and learn the game at Ilkeston as well. So it's a great it's a really great opportunity to it. So it cuts out a lot of the I know a lot of the Bermudian players come over and live with families who are already in England, and then obviously the parents pay for that privilege. With this, you know, you would still have to pay, because that's just, unfortunately, that's the way it is. But you'd get the best of both worlds. So you'd get somewhere to live, you would get the university lifestyle, but you'd also get the professionalism of Ilkeston Town Football Club. You know, and the better players, like I said, because it's at the end of the day, when it comes to the level we're at, you know, only the best players will play. That's just the reality of the game. They will have an opportunity, you know, to showcase their skills at a very high level of football with the first team. But to get to that level, they have to come through the academy or the under 23s and showcase what they have. So then I can go to the first team manager and say, you know what, Gaffer, you might want to have a look at him. You know, he's been doing some good things. And then obviously that's how the conversation goes with progressing young players into the first team.
Right. Now, listening to you, so many things go through your mind, but one of the things would be a player that is a fringe player, but wants to join this program. He may not fit or want to achieve that first team football, but wants to achieve what you guys are offering in the education side, will you still work with that person to help them achieve their goal through the program?
That's a really simple answer, and the word is absolutely yes. But we spoke at the very beginning about this is about people. This is about an individual. And whilst football they may not make a living from, they can make a living from the game and the industries that surround football. And we've got a great asset, which is our football club, and through that they can learn their trade. So we've got a young man at the moment, and if anybody has the time to go on any of our social media sites, that is run by one of our students. He's 17 years old, and he's really learning his trade really well. He's putting out some excellent content. He's learning on the job, and so that's just one example of us utilizing their skill set. And there's nothing to say that young man won't become be able to play football at some stage, but he's also giving himself a second opportunity of a career as well.
Yeah. So what over the next few weeks, you will learn more about what direction the league is going to go through as far as you guys are concerned. But you still go on with your programs, especially the learning part, the academic part. How do you project the future, say down the road 5 years? I know it's very difficult, but giving people a kind of scope on what direction the club wants to go through and be at in a 5-year period, what would you say?
I would say from on the pitch, purely on the pitch, we will be very close to being a professional football club. So we would probably be in the National League, North or South, all being well, if everything goes to plan. We will be in the National League, which is one level away from League Two in England, which is the professional league. So that's from a football side of things. We've got other developments going on at the football club. We've got a 3G pitch going in the next few months, and we've got some units going in to support the development and the sustainability of the club long term. We spoke again earlier about the club going into administration and us having to rescue it. That never needs to happen again. The things that we put in place is to make sure the long term sustainability of the club is secure. Put that together with the academy and the players coming through the academy. We don't need to be stretching the length and breadth of England to find our talent when they will be in our academy. And when they play for our first team, it's important to know that they get paid. They will earn an income from playing for our first team, and Leo does at the moment. So hopefully he'll watch this and he knows he's one of the fortunate ones. But there's many more to come.
Yeah. Now, you talked about administration because, we read a lot of what goes on in the UK, and the teams in the lower division, such as the North and the South of the National League, are worried, concerned about surviving this because of the fact that it's a financial burden on the clubs, and deciding not to play to continue on for the remainder of the season kind of helps them out financially. But amongst the clubs, what has been the talk so that everyone survives kind of together, so you can pick up whenever we get back to some normalcy, you can all get back into it, as opposed to losing 4 or 5 clubs due to this pandemic?
Yeah, look, we don't want to see any football club go out of business. We've been very fortunate in that we've rode the wave very well. We've used the time to kind of plan and develop and succession plan and look beyond. You've just spoke about 5 years. We've got a development plan that and a build plan that will last 3 or 4 years of that time. So it's a massive project that ultimately, we're here today to talk about the football club, yes, but we're also here to talk about the academy. The academy is an integral part of the growth of the football club. So one goes hand in hand, but we certainly don't want to see any football club go bust. We want to go and play them and give all the communities an excellent opportunity to have all of our fans. We take a lot of away fans with us, and they go and frequent their bars and their local pubs and pay their money to get in and eat their pies. And so we we have a good following, and we want to get back out there and start playing when we can and when it's safe to do so.
Right. Tony, you talked about it earlier, but how much pressure do you put on yourself to ensure that you can facilitate players through your program into that first team? How many times do you challenge yourself to say, okay, this season I want 2 players in that first team steady, or 3 players, or whatever? How do you do that for yourself?
Yeah, well, to be fair, I always put pressure on myself whenever it's to do with the game, because I believe if I'm on top of my game, then there's no reason why the boys can't be on top of theirs. So when I joined Ilkeston, my goal was to have at least 2 or 3 players who actually get into Ilkeston's first team. And then how I see my job is, if I do my job to make sure they're good enough, mentally ready, physically ready to play for the first team, the rest is down to them. Because I've given them the tools they need to now go on and do good things and do great things. So if I had no players at all going into the first team or getting a game in the first team, I would think I failed. Because initially my job is to support the first team. Right. So when the first team manager says, I need 2 or 3 players this week, I've got 5 or 6 who are ready. So he will say to me, I want a striker and a defender. And I will go, okay, Leo, Willow. There you go. You go into the first team. Or he says he wants, 2 midfielders. I'll say CK, Rico, away you go. And I know they will go and they will do me proud because they've been coached, they've been trained, they're mentally, physically ready to take on the task. And then it's down to the first team manager, what he does with them. And like the great thing with Ilkeston is if these boys are good enough, it doesn't matter their age. It doesn't matter their age. So they could be keeping out players who are earning a couple £100 a week, as an academy player. But if they're playing well, they're going to keep their position. And that's the beautiful thing about it is my job is to give them the tools to go and do the job, and then it's their job to grasp the opportunity and run with it. And a couple of them have, but there is 5 or 6 more what want that opportunity, and it's funny because I had Mitchell Tate and Rico Spencer both play for the first team in the FA Cup, and now growing up as a kid, these kids just being there, on the pitch in the FA Cup, it's massive. It really is. But we don't want them to get complacent. That's just the start.
Yeah.
How can you play week in, week out? So that's the next step. But for me as a coach, my job's very clear, and I'm happy to be held to that by above, is to make players available for the first team and knowing when they step up, they can do a job.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I'm going to give you this opportunity to sell the football side of the academy to the player, and then I'm going to ask Mark to sell the club to the parents, because obviously there's got to be a buy-in from everyone. So, Tony, can you just give a sales pitch for the program on the pitch? Did you hear me, Tony?
Can you say that again? And yeah.
Okay, Tony, can you give a sales pitch for the players to join the academy on the pitch? Just unmute. Just unmute. Unmute. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Just repeat. Just repeat that.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll ask you, Tony. Mark, and then he'll get a sense of what we're trying to ask. So if Mark, if you can give a sales pitch from the club standpoint for the parents to buy into getting their young people involved at the club.
Yeah, I think for all the reasons I spoke about, really, we've got a very person-centered approach, and I think one of the most important things, and you know, I've got another role where I run a charity, and it's to support young people and to help them reach their aspirations. And one of the things I'll say is every young person that walks through into that football club will be treated like they're our own children, and in the respect of, we want them to achieve, we want them to, you know, represent their families well, like we'd expect our own families to represent us well. We want them to become something, we want them to have aspirations, we want them to grow, and we want to see them go and fulfill those, you know, aspirations. And it's not about us keeping them at the football club, it's about seeing how far we can let them go and watch them fly. Because that they're the very, you know, you've asked me to do a selling job for the parents. What we need is a few young people to go through our program and go on to work at other professional clubs, to go and be a professional footballer, because that then does the talking. You know, we're at the very start of a really exciting journey, and we're really looking forward to, you know, people from your country coming to join us, but also for our own community, them being involved as well.
Right. And Tony, if you could hear me now, can you give a sales pitch for on the field for players?
Yeah, of course. At the academy, it's, we want footballers who want to learn. That's the first thing. And if they listen and learn, they have a chance. And I'm very clear with this. I don't give people false hope. I say, you listen, you learn, you know, you take everything on board, you have a chance. And at Ilkeston, you've got a better chance than a lot of other places, simply because we have a tried and tested pathway, and we have football people who own the club, which is, you know, in some clubs they haven't got football people, so they don't understand the game, they don't understand what it takes. So, but at Ilkeston, we're blessed with, you know, we've got Mark, we've got Gandhi, who's the first team manager. These guys have played the game at a good level, so they understand, you know, what is required. So any kid who comes to Ilkeston is getting, I would say, a better chance than anywhere else, simply because of the pathway, what is there.
Yeah, well, I do want to thank you both. We will stay in contact with you guys. Hopefully we get some interest from families in Bermuda that want to be a part of your program, and they reach out, and you know, all the best to how it all plays out. You know, we have to make sure that opportunities are there for young people, no matter near or far, but just let everyone know that there are opportunities out there, and pathways to a better, another way of being educated. Whether you make it as a professional footballer or not, like you said, it's a way that they can get the best out of themselves and be upstanding citizens. And if your club could play a part in that, you know, we glory in the spirit. So,
brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.
Both. We will definitely stay in touch, and hopefully, once you guys do get back up and running, we'll keep an eye on how the young men are making out, and hopefully more regularly in the first team. Okay.
Great stuff. Thanks, Earl. Take care. Keep safe.
Okay.
Okay, Earl.
Good talking
I'll
to
see
you
soon, pal. All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.